Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Apex Racing TV and our coverage of Season 8 of the iRacing Israel League. We're here at Lime Rock Park for rounds 5 and 6 of the championship. Joining you in the commentary booth, it's Dane Baird here with Sam Fitzpatrick alongside. He's also on production, so doing a bit of double duty in the production booth is Sam. But we've got Lime Rock Park up for us, Sam. It's a very well-known circuit in iRacing. I think almost every single person that is on the road side of iRacing has done a race of some kind at Lime Rock Park. Very popular circuit in the rookie levels of the service. And a very hot day here as well should pose a bit of a challenge for the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely will do. And yeah, as you say, because it being one of the rookie circuits, everyone would have driven around this track. Not necessarily this version, but let's face it, the rescan is very similar to the old classic Lime Rock Park, which was I think the first track that iRacing ever scanned back in like 2004. So yeah, it should be a competitive race, I imagine, with all these drivers knowing the circuit like the back of their hand.
Yep, and no chicanes for today either, I believe. So it's my personal favorite layout. We get to absolutely send it around the uphill right hand, I believe it's turn 5. Definitely one of the best corners on the circuit. But in these GT4 cars, one interesting thing about this place is you don't actually have to brake all that often. A couple lifts here and there, be some slight trailing into some of the corners, but for a lot of them, you can take them almost flat out. So we'll see how the drivers manage this. It's a fairly short and narrow circuit for the most part as well. And because of the flowing nature of it, there's not a whole lot of overtaking opportunities. Really, the only good one, Sam, is into turn 1.
Yeah, that's going to be the main opportunity, isn't it? And then you can maybe mug drivers, you know, through turn 2 and turn 3, kind of catch them unawares. But for the most part, yeah, turn 1 is the main opportunity with that longer pit straight that you have around this circuit. And then, yeah, just following behind. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the slipstream effect isn't going to be very strong. So Dorian Tabashnik has a very big slide right there. But yeah, you can still follow around most of this circuit with the draft. It's a very high speed track, but yeah, there's not really many big braking areas. It maybe suffers a bit like Barcelona, you know, where you got that very long straight, but no real big braking at the end of it. So yeah, will not be easy to overtake. You need to get a decent qualifying, and pretty much most of the drivers have already put in their qualifying. I think they're limited to 2 laps, and so I don't think we're going to see any more improvements in this session because I think everyone have set their laps, and the drivers remaining are just getting a little bit of extra practice before the race.
Yep, they'll all be very unceremoniously kicked off the circuit as we get ready to go for the first race. And It is going to be a 15-minute race 1, followed immediately by a 15-minute race 2, where the top 10 will be inverted. So keep your eye out on that as well, because the top 10 positions will be flipped for the second race's grid. But here is the grid for race number 1 then, and it is Ruben Chachashvili on pole position. The arrows Malkov on the second place. We've got on row 2, Reem Gross and Alon Day, Hagai Farron and Nadav Yaron on row 3. John Chico and Rancioni in 7th and 8th, rounding out the top 10, Amir Meshalam and Ido Isaac, Yossi Gabai and Dorian Tomashnik in 11th and in 12th. There's the driver's grid up in the background there. A couple more drivers here deep into the amateur class here. Baba in 13th, Madi Mikar in 14th, Yuda Ben Yosef in 15th, Ofer Messers in 16th. Then Michael Simon, Tal Stern, Mark Zubarev and Reedy Sir rounding out your top 20. Amir Hesed in 21st alongside Bertie Galili, Toma Ventura and Gadi Uzale making up the top 24 drivers. Everybody's setting a lap time here, Sam. It's not the easiest place to get 1Xs because obviously there's grass on the outside of all of the corners. So you don't really want to be running too far wide at the beginning.
No, it's yeah, an important thing. It's nice to have these deterrents, or is it a deterrence? The grass, should we be saying, if we're going to be edgy tonight?
Oh dear.
That'll be the only mention of it.
Yeah. Don't get me started, Sam. We'll have an hour. We'll have an hour of ranting.
Yeah, we've had a weekend of ranting at the
yeah,
Dane already.
We have had a weekend of Dane ranting already, so let's not bring that into Monday, shall we? One thing I do want to say, Mercedes. Mark Tranter would be absolutely loving this. Mercedes, and then a Porsche, which he actually owns a Porsche 718. So, yeah, I think that a lot of Mercedes at the front, obviously the car of choice, only 6 drivers, opting not to drive the Porsche, the Mercedes out there at the moment. But it is still a Porsche who leads the field in the pace car as they make their way about halfway around the circuit now. It is, of course, going to be a rolling start, if that wasn't obvious already. It should be an interesting one. Making your way through the first couple of turns can be a bit sketchy going side by side. And you can see just how narrow this middle section of the circuit is, Sam.
Yeah, this is where you really want to be into single file. You want to be into single file really by about turn 3 or so, because yeah, after that you're really risking collisions. And watch out for big pile-ups as well through the first around that middle part of the track. There's not much run-off areas around this circuit, and so if someone drops it, especially with the crest, you know, pretty much making those corners blind, it's a real risk of having quite a pile-up.
You don't want to be side by side heading out of the final couple of corners either, because your speed down that straight, you just carry it all the way through. Pace car will pull off to the right-hand side of the circuit, then we will get ready to go. Then Ruben Chachashvili will lead the field across the line, and we go green for race number 1. Brilliant start there from Chachashvili. He's actually caught everyone else napping, and he's got almost a second lead already as they go side by side further back into the first corner we go. Are we going to make it clean all the way around? We've got the top 10 through so far. Looks like everybody seemingly making it through cleanly, which is great. A couple side-by-side cars a bit further back as well, but mostly single file here up in the top parts. There's a little bit of door banging there between the number 69 Mercedes and the number 90 of Ido Isaac in the Aston Martin, who's now going to get freight trained here as they go. The number 17 on the inside, contact here, and this could be dangerous now. They're going to bounce off the wall back onto the racing line, and there is the pile-up, Sam, that we were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, once you have one car go off there, it is very tricky for the other drivers to avoid. And it looks like we've had about 3 or 4 drivers. I think Sir, Simon, Isaac and Gabai, I think we're all caught up in that lap 1 incident. We might get a replay of it a little bit later on in the race. But yeah, absolutely epic there from Chacha. And then Day also got ahead of Gross. And a few other battles going on down the order. But yeah, it's so narrow. I mean, we literally predicted that one, I think, Dane. So narrow around that part of the circuit. And yeah, once there's contact, you're going to bounce back on, as we've got 4 wide for him.
Yeah, and that is the number 4 of John Chico and Nadav Yaron going side by side and making a bit of contact there, ending up 3 wide, almost 4 wide, in towards turn 3 and turn 4. And that's definitely not what you want as they make contact over the crest, and all having a big moment as the number 69 Mercedes, but just about manages to hold on and gets past Amir Meshulam in the Porsche Cayman as well.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. I think that's Tabashnik who was the main protagonist in all that. Oh, we got a car off in the background. That is Madi Bashar right there. So that is a shame for Bashar. Oh, that's a dreadful rejoin. A really poor dreadful rejoin. And wow, this has been a chaotic start to this race 1 of the evening. Yeah, really a lot happening. Zubarev was the unlucky driver in that scenario. And yeah, that means that we've got probably about a third of our field having significant problems so far in this race. You can see on the timing tower just how many drivers have had to go back as we have a little bit of air heading over the crest on this 3rd lap of the race. But these front runners trying to get away with it. Quite a lot of field spread as well. It's mainly this this midfield battle, which is the most competitive fight out there right now.
Yep, and one thing you have to be aware of, especially in these very short races, is it looks like the Aston Martin just behind of Yehuda Ben-Yosef, of Sion Baba, has just had a huge moment coming out of the penultimate corner, tapped the grass on the outside, and well, didn't give you grip, it sent them to the inside wall almost. Managed to hold on, and unfortunately lost a bit of speed heading through the final corner and down the main straight, which has just allowed Yehuda Ben-Yosef up the inside into turn number 1. So good move being made there to get Yehuda Ben-Yosef up into 2nd place in that AM category. But one thing the drivers have to be aware of is lapped cars, because there's going to be a lot of them. They've got a 50-second lap nearly here at Lime Rock Park, so the drivers are going to come across those lap cars fairly quickly, especially when you've got the drivers involved in the incidents that are dropping back, maybe cars with damage. Here's really Sir, and as you can see just in the background there, that is your lead pack.
Yeah, it's taking them no time. Oh, as Ben-Yosef is again under pressure. Jeez, this only happened a few moments ago, didn't it? And then we're back around again. It's almost a carbon copy. Barber ahead for now, but Ben-Yosef is got better momentum. It's Barber though, who is clear on the inside heading through turn 1, and he is able to keep that position for the time being. So yeah, really close. Of course, Stern currently leader of the amateur category. Barber in 2nd place in that category, and Ben-Yosef in 3rd, but the top 9 all the pros. So it's quite a kind of segregated field at the moment for these drivers, quite split between the pros and the AMs. But well, we'll see in race 2 that often sort of mixes the order up a bit.
Yeah, and I'm just having a look at the number of laps that this race is limited to is usually quite a lot higher than the number of laps we get done, but it's not going to be in this case. We've got 15 minutes. We need to complete the 20 laps that the race is limited to. It will take us 17, so I think we only have maybe 18 laps worth of racing here, so loads of laps for the drivers to do. We're already a third of the way through, of course. And ooh, what's happened here? John Chico making his way past the 422. One of the lapped cars. It is Ophmasters, of course, involved in that lap 1 incident, I believe. Heading into the corner we've just come out of, the uphill. But now it's got Reem Gross. Definitely will have some blue flags, and up the inside goes Gross, and that's not ideal for Gross because he's had to take a tighter line through the corner. This could open up a move possibly for Yaron just behind. You can see how much speed he's gaining in the slipstream as well. He might pull to the insider and try and make a move for that 5th position. In towards turn number 1 they go side by side, and it is going to be a move being made by Yaron, and he's up the inside. I think he's got that one done. He's just about ahead as they go through turn 2.
Yeah, really excellent effort right there. Gross now down 4 places from his race start. And now it's Tabashnik, who I think qualified a bit out of position. I feel like Tabashnik's usually a bit higher up the order, isn't he? But he qualified outside the top 10 today. Oh, we've got a little bit of contact. Don't do it again, guys. And they have stayed in the same order, but this is going to be really encouraging for the likes of Meshulam and Stern, who are the 2 drivers just trailing these guys. And we could have a bit of a train forming up now, unless Yaron can really have a good couple of corners here and break the draft.
Yeah, but one of the difficult things about Lime Rock Park is that despite the corners being fairly wide and open, there's not a whole lot of dirty air, and it becomes incredibly difficult to keep a gap, as we're going to see Tabashnik now around the outside of Gross. So there's a little bit of contact, and it's going to tip Tabashnik around. And almost, I think that's Amameshtan having a bit of a sympathy spin there as well, just trying not to collide into the cars in front. And both of those drivers going to, actually Tabashnik, all the way down into the pit lane, just towed the Sim3D Sport driver. So around the outside here is Tabashnik, and oh, just a bit of a touch there, and it pits him around. Is there some damage to the car, or is he sort of just given up at this point?
I think it's going to be the latter. Yeah,
Yeah.
had enough of that one.
Understandable.
Yeah. It wasn't going to be his best result ever in the series anyway. So, yeah, maybe, hopefully, we'll see him back for race 2. Fingers crossed for that one. Mechelen, though, being able to continue, albeit he lost about 7 places, I think, in all of that. So, was not good for him. As we have a slight bit of calm. There's live timing, by the way, to everyone who's watching in the description below. Click on that, provided by SDK Gaming. And yeah, you can see the gaps between the drivers, but I'm looking at it at the moment, and we have about half a second between everyone, which is remarkable because it's been, I think, probably the most chaotic start we've had to a race this season, Dane.
Yeah, quite frankly, complete carnage, I think, is fair to say. We were sort of expecting it, but maybe not to the degree that we've seen it. But Chachishvili now, second behind it is
This is
Malkov.
a lap 1 replay, by the way, Dane. So this was the pile-up that happened, and yeah, it was just that initial contact, and once they went round, it was pretty nasty. So that's probably what happened on lap 1. Oh, we got an issue for Baba.
Oh, yeah, and off the circuit, that's just out of turn 2. Is there some contact here to speak of?
Apologies for one.
Let's see. It doesn't look like there's anyone anywhere near him, so it looks like maybe just ran a little bit wide here towards turn 1. Nice apex at the beginning. And, oh, it's so easy to do. So easy to do. You get a couple tyres on the grass on the outside there. You want to get as close to it as possible, but if you touch it, it just sucks you wide. And losing a couple of positions there, unfortunately, is that number 5 machine. But no damage, so we'll continue on in the race. Still in 5th position in the amateur class, so good job from Baba so far. Here is Alon Day under a bit of pressure. Is that under a bit of pressure from John Chico there in the Mercedes just behind?
Yeah, the last lap times, Chico was 0.2 of a second quicker. So he is catching. We've also got Gross catching back up to Yaron, albeit, to be fair, I don't think they ever really separated those two. I mean, Yaron was able to get past, but he was never able to pull away, as Day pushing it to the limit. That was actually a good exit, a good final corner for him, but I thought he may have been pushing it a little bit too far, as we've got Bubba heading back through the order. This is going to be a bold move if he can make this one. He has got a bit of damage, I think, on the front of that Aston Martin GT4. And he's got his nose ahead, but he's still going to have to go the long way round. If there's any contact there, he's destined to hit the wall. And he's managed to avoid it. Good move there from Bubba. That took some skill from him to leave just about enough space on the inside while still carrying some momentum. And he was able to move up to P4 in class.
Yeah, Ventura on the inside line there as well. The much tighter line than you'd usually take through that corner. Did well to not wash out wide an inch. And it would have been disastrous for the drivers. Through the final corner, Alon Day and John Chico will go. You can see how the cars bounce along with the camber of the corner as they make their way back onto the main straight. Just under 5 minutes left, and Chico looking the inside for a moment just to show the nose.
Yeah, he's trying to very much two very even battles at the moment between Yaron and Gross and Day and Chico, but at the moment the lead driver in each of the battles respectively is winning out, and so yeah, we'll see if that can continue as Day once again going over that crest. It's always feels like the car's never fully in control in that scenario, and yet I guess once you straighten up the car, you can get it pretty consistent around the circuit.
Yeah, that's the key thing is you'll see the drivers taking a bit of an odd line through the corner is because you need to get straightened before you launch over the crest, because if you are turning at all, the car will spin immediately. And if you're not dead straight over it, once you land, your car's going to bounce all over the place. We saw it a little bit earlier on with Tabashnik, I believe it was. Yeah, it was Dorian Tabashnik in that big pack, and yeah, got it ever so slightly wrong and sent him almost into the inside wall. Very tricky corner, that one, to get right, especially in these really, really heavy GT4s. Is that when you come around that corner, all of the weight is loaded up onto the car through the compression. You come out of it, and then suddenly nothing. You've got all four wheels in the air. So when those things land, it can be a bit tricky to keep them going in the direction that you want. So yeah, good job from the drivers to mostly make it through there clean. I haven't seen too many drivers make a mistake through that part of the course just yet, and those that have seem to have been able to catch it quite nicely.
Yeah, it's been good driving from everyone out there. And so, yeah, I'm surprised, honestly. I thought it would only be a matter of time, but besides that lap 1 incident, I think actually the crest has been fairly safe so far in this race. As we kind of get into now the fray of what you were anticipating earlier on, Dane, where like it's tricky to overtake around this circuit now. We're sort of seeing that come to fruition. I feel like if this was, I don't know, a Spa or I guess a Monza would be a good example. You could just go for a dive at one of the big braking areas, and whereas here you really got to work for the move and get properly alongside. Grace might be able to do that himself. He's just got to absolutely nail this final corner, which is very difficult to do when you've got a big old GT4 blocking your view.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we'll see here now a massive run from the 44 as Gross tries to make it around the outside, but has to back out of it. I must say, these new Mercedes GT cars, they do look good.
Yes, and they sound good as well. I'm not usually a huge fan of like the Mercedes. Oh man, there's a couple of battles going on here. We've got this going on right behind. In fact, this is Sir versus Azulay, and this time they get through it. Well, Sir getting ahead into P16, and we've also got Meshulam versus Galili coming up. Galili, yeah, hasn't come into the pits so far. In fact, I think Meshulam has just got past Galili. So here we go. We should get a replay of that.
Is it going to be into turn 1? It is going to be into turn 1. Big send for the Porsche on the inside. Maybe putting off the McLaren ever so slightly. Sees a gap, goes for it. Yep, McLaren backs out of that one very quickly. And Meshulam gains a position up into 13th position overall. Still 8th in that pro category. As the drivers make their way up towards the final couple of corners. Now, this is interesting, there was a minute left on the clock when Riven Chachishvili passed the start-finish last time by. It's 52 seconds for a lap, and we will have one more lap. So we will have 18 laps, like I thought we might at the beginning of the race. So one more lap for all of the drivers once they've passed that start-finish line. And here comes a move from Chico up the inside of Alon Day, and Day is having none of it, shuts the door nicely, and he will keep 4th position for the time being. I don't really think there's going to be much more of an opportunity for Chico. He looks to the inside of turn 2 as well, but that's definitely not happening, and Day looks safe for now.
Yeah, it was similarly close to... Oh, no. Well, that's going to drop him at least 2 places. This is going to be close with Tal Stern. Is Stern going to be able to get ahead? Oh, it's going to be close.
Very awkward place to rejoin the circuit there. Just not a bad rejoin, but an awkward rejoin as the drivers are going to go side by side through here. No, they're not. Stern and Sione now. This is a battle for amateur lead.
Yeah, so that was I think that was Sir who they just got past, yeah.
Yes,
so
yes.
I do not think we'll be getting any Christmas cards, as we, apologies, have the race leader across the line. Apologies for missing that one. But yeah, that is the checkered flag for Ruben Chachishvili.
Yeah, here he comes around the final corner. Absolutely no problems for him. 0 problems in the entire race. He just pieced out at the very beginning, left everyone else to scrap around, and a little bit of a weave there as well. Flash of the headlights for good measure. He's going to feel pretty happy about that one. But who finished in 10th place? I believe it was Yehuda Ben Yosef overall. Yes, it was Yehuda Ben Yosef. So he'll be starting on pole position for the next race. And well, if we thought we had a bit of chaos at the beginning of the first race, we usually get more chaos at the beginning of the second race because we are going to flip the top 10 around. So everyone starts in the finishing position from the first race except the top 10. So you can see in 10th position is Ruben Chachishvili. First place on pole position, Yehuda Ben Yosef alongside Rancioni. Tal Stern making up an all-amateur top 3. John Chico in 4th position. Reem Gross in 5th. Nadav Yaron again in 6th. Alon Day in 7th. Haggai Farhan in 8th. Gary Malkov in 9th. Paul Chachishvili in 10th. And then the rest of the field will be in the order that they just finished the race. You can see that on the screen. And I don't think we've got Dorian Tabashnik, unfortunately. We don't have Maddie Picard either, so those bottom two not going to be taking to the start of this race.
Yes. That was one other Joe. I think that was Barber as well, who I thought I wasn't sure was going to take the start, but he has been able to take the start. So that is all good. And we'll start the second pace lap of the evening here at Lime Rock Park. And yeah, I think this will be. I feel like mission number 1 for these guys got to be to get through lap 1. Because we saw last time, it gets just so narrow around that middle part of the lap. It's so easy for someone to get checked up, especially if you go for a move around the outside, for example, and you kind of get, pushed out a little bit. Then all of a sudden you're on the defense, and so it's not so easy to just go single file through that because you're naturally going to have, batsing around that part of the track. So yeah, survive lap 1, and then you can sort of, slowly make up your positions as the race goes on.
Yes, exactly right. And just look at how tight this is. You can barely fit 3 cars wide at this part of the circuit. And if you do, you're going to have to go incredibly slowly. And once you get into this bit, this is some of the narrowest track that we're going to have all season long on the calendar. It widens up a bit here, yes, but then it becomes kinky. So then it's even worse. And trying to fit 2 drivers wide through there is difficult enough. And then, of course, we saw that big accident on the start of the first race. Is this part right here. That wall on the outside, it just is angled at the worst possible way for if a car bounces off of it. And unfortunately, that's what we saw earlier on. Hopefully, we won't have any incidents there in this second race. Because if someone goes off at this part of the circuit, look at that. All loads of runoff on the outside behind the drivers as well. But through the final corner, they will go. The pace car will pull off to the right-hand side in a moment and leave the field in control of one of only 2 Porsche Caymans in the field. The number 10, Yehuda Ben Yosef, is going to go now. We are green once again here at Lime Rock Park for round 6 of the championship, and another good launch from the race leader. It's going to be side by side further back, Rancioni and John Chico. Chico trying to look around the outside in turn number 1 and turn number 2. Is he going to be able to hold on for that? He's not. Going to have to settle for 3rd place as of now. He's got ahead of Tal Stern though off the start, and Tal Stern's going to lose yet more positions as Alon Day from 7th on the grid is up into 4th place already.
Yeah, it's absolutely mega from Day. That's 3 places gained straight away. And also he's been able to avoid any risk of any side-by-side around this part of the track, which is excellent news for him. We have got a little bit of side-by-side between Malkov and Ferran, albeit leaving each other a bit more space this time. We have got 1 car off. That is Barber, who had a very good result in race 1. He's smashed into the wall, just lost control of the car. Maybe the cold tyres playing a part there, and he is out of contention.
Got a little bit loose over the crest, then got on the grass, and the grass was not going to help things at all. Straight into the inside. Oh, the car's being turned on the main straight there in the background. One of the Mercedes drivers, Toma Ventura, in the Mercedes. And a car behind, just trying to pull out for an overtake, mistimed it totally and just turned him into the barrier. Sammy Mechelin just behind here. As we head down the main straight. Yeah, just mistimes it and straight into the wall through absolutely zero fault of his own. Toma Ventura out of the race and having to tow back to the pit lane. Very unfortunate stuff there. But Yehuda Ben Yosef is still leading the race. There's a big old chunk of curb there on the inside. That's not going to help things at all. But some very quick drivers in pursuit. Rancioni, John Chico's all tail stern into the middle of the circuit, and it's not going to be avoided. Car slamming into him. That was a huge impact there on the main straight. But what's happened to the number 11 to put him in that situation in the first place?
Oh, he just lost it by himself.
And the wall as well. And then this. Hold the brakes. Does hold the brakes. Everyone else doesn't avoid him, unfortunately. The number 17 is that?
Gabay.
Of Yossi Gabay, yep. Oh dear.
And apologies, we did also have a move for the lead as well. I'll try my best to find that one, but we do now have Alonde at the lead of the race. This was
down into 13th.
Yeah, this was how you got past Chico then. I think this was after Ben Yosef went off the track.
Through they go and onto the grass as well to get past the number 4 of Chico, who's going slowly. So I can only imagine there must have been a little bit of contact between the two of them, because that looked like Chico was just letting him through at that point.
Yeah, I think that was Sione actually, the last driver that he got past. And then, there was the contact, and then he's got a huge slowdown, so that would explain it, yep.
That would explain it. There's absolutely no point trying to make your way back onto the circuit anywhere else, especially not with a lot of drivers on the inside. But yeah, slow down for John Chico. But what has happened to Yehuda Ben Yosef is my question. The number 10 machine, as we watch the drivers making their way through here. Oh, they're going to go side by side through the final corner, a little bit further back in. Positions being swapped once again. Yeah, here comes Amim Eshalam in the Porsche. Oh, and drivers swapping all over the place in the braking zone, and just about making sure that no contact is made through the first corner. Drivers all over the place at the moment. Huge swarm of cars.
Yeah, this is absolutely mega, isn't it? I mean, we have not seen this type of racing so far this season, really, where this is just absolutely gloves off. Racing right now. It's absolutely fearless. We got to spin around. I think that's one of the back markers. No, it's Alonde from the lead. Is he going to get hit? Of course he is.
Huge contact over the crest. Yeah, there's no way you're going to see that. More cars come off the barriers again. They keep bouncing into the middle of the circuit. There's no ways anyone's going to be able to avoid them. And oh dear, that's such an awful part of the circuit for that to have happened. Anywhere else on the circuit, everyone can see you a good 5-10 seconds in advance, and it is just a loss of control off the barrier, and there, just the front of the car sticking out, and bang! That's easily 6-7 cars involved. Does a 30 get through all right? Just can't make it out.
I think he did. That was Zubrev.
Yeah, Zubrev has no damage to the front of the car. So, wow, actually good avoidance skills there by the number 30. I think a couple of drivers towing at good moments there, but what a way to lose half the grid in a corner.
Yeah, you might look at that a little bit more post-race as that's very slow there for Sione. I think that was just... Yeah, I think you're right, Dane, actually. I was hesitant at first, but now I think you're right. Must be.
I don't know where he would have got a slowdown that he would have been able to serve there, though. That's a really odd place to get a slowdown, so they're going to go side by side either way. Haggai Farran on the inside, and Rancioni just a little bit further back now, down into 5th position overall, but still leading that amateur category. You can see on the timing tower, the white-coloured driver numbers are going to be the pro drivers. The blue colour are the AM category drivers. So, unfortunately, one of the things that this has caused, all of this carnage that we've just seen, Sam, is that the field is now very spread out.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we can cycle through the field, and you can see just how the gaps are for the drivers.
Can you believe we've only had 6 minutes of this race?
It
feels like it's been a lot longer than that.
Yeah, I feel like there's less that occurs in 2-hour-long races than has been for the first 6 minutes of this race. So yeah, absolutely craziness so far. just a couple of battles with us is Goodbye, who I think, well, Goodbye's already been in the pits, so Goodbye's a lap and a half down. We have got the top 12 on the lead lap, or within half a lap, and then you basically lose a lap for all the drivers who have had to tow back to the pits. So Chacha is one of them, Goodbye, Malkov, Barber, Ventura, and Co are all in that situation as well. So a huge field split. Ooh, wow. Don't take that racing line.
Yeah, big jump and not quite straightened up, so the car just drifted off to the left and you're in the middle of the air. So braking, steering, none of that's going to work. So yeah, a good catch actually by Rivennet. Obviously winning in that first race, down 5th position in the Pro category, but that doesn't show the true picture. The AM category drivers doing a fantastic job out there at the moment.
Yeah, really performing extremely well right now. Yeah, up in 5th place. I mean, I was saying in race 1, as also we've had an issue for Sione. We should be able to find out what happened here. Also, Tal Stern has had a crash. Oh dear. Sorry, this is a little bit beforehand. Unfortunately, I cannot find... Maybe here? There we go.
Grass. Yep. It's so predictable at Lime Rock. When you see a car spinning off, it's almost certainly because they've run a little bit too wide and tapped the grass. It also doesn't help when you're running over the curbs as well. If you go onto the other side of the curb, there is a bit of a ledge there. And if you fall off the end of it onto the grass, not only do you lose all grip, you also unsettle the car a massive amount. So it's a recipe for disaster. 6 minutes to go then, and it is Reem Gross out in front. 1.3 second gap as they make their way onto the grass is the number 42. 42, of course, still Ruben Chacciatorelli here. Now through the final corner. I've seen a lot of this actually. The drivers like really struggling for grip out of a lot of these corners. They're getting very squirrely.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think you pointed out earlier on the hot track temperature, which we should be able to show. Yeah, 46 degrees temperature, track temperature, absolutely sweltering out there.
Has got cooler though.
Yeah, we're getting
50 degrees in qualifying.
Oh really? Gosh.
Yeah, that sounds like my idea of not a very fun qualifying session, and somehow everyone set a lap time in that. That's actually even more impressive now that I think about it. Yeah. For those of you who might not know, is that the hotter the track gets, the less grip you've got by quite a long margin, and 50 degrees track temperature is incredibly hot. So yeah, it's very challenging for the drivers here, especially when you've got a lot of changes of direction as well, and pretty quick corners, massive curbs on the inside, unsettling the car all the time. So doing a good job there. Yaron and Chico. Chico catching up a little bit.
Yeah, these top 3 are gradually closing in on one another. That's very wide. It seems like it's almost the racing line there where you can gain maybe a 10th or 2. Ooh, I hear wall scraping? What's that? I heard something.
It might be bottoming out.
I think you're right, yeah.
Because there's a massive dip there in the circuit, and yeah, the cars are bouncing around quite a bit on their suspension, so just bottoming out ever so slightly is one of the fun things about doing commentaries. You know all the sounds, you know what people spinning sounds like, you know what people making contact sounds like. If you can't see it but you can hear it, immediate panic.
Yeah. Oh, as we got Ruben Chacha. Oh my god, you just set the fastest lap of the race as well a couple of laps ago. I don't think there's any point in showing the replay for that one. We know that he's probably gone wide at turn 1. And so that ends a dismal race 2 after taking the win in race 1. He has had, yeah, absolutely horrible time in this race 2 of the events. Sione is got past Hesed. He's up to 8th place. Don't think he's got the pace to catch up to Ben Yosef. He's only matching Ben Yosef at the moment. So expect him to stay roughly in that position to the end. But Yaron is under big pressure from Chico, who could win this race. This is a possibility, but he's got to get past right away so he can go after Gross up ahead.
Yep, Gross definitely struggling a little bit with grip, so we'll see now. It will have to be into turn 1 on the next lap, otherwise it's pretty much game over. They're going to have around, what are you thinking, 3-4 laps to go at the line, as they'll have 3 minutes. They'll need 2 minutes 30 to take us to 4 laps to go, and I think, yeah, we will have 4 laps at the end of this race. 4 laps to go. We'll see now. Chico's not going to have a run, it doesn't look like, on the number 22 in the draft still, and might have a little bit of a look to the inside into the corner. Nope, doesn't even bother. It's not going to be a move he is willing to make on this occasion, but that does make his chance of winning the race ever so lower. Chico obviously starting the race on pole position. It looked like for a second there, but we know that it was Yehuda Ben Yosef. Pole position in the pro category. That's it. We'll see very close to this last couple of corners. If you can get a good run here, Sammy, you may well have a move into turn 1 possible.
Yeah, I feel like you get into sort of the same position every single time into the penultimate corner, and then it really comes down to how well you can nail this. But even if you do, especially if you've maybe got a high downforce setup, it's almost impossible to pass into turn 1 because the other guy can just cover off the inside. Let's see if he can do it this time. He does cover off just about enough to the inside, does Euron. Chica's going to have to go the long way round, but he had really no momentum there, did he? And I mean, even if he did get alongside, you would expect Yaron to just understeer out slightly, open up the steering, and, you know, cause a little bit of door-to-door damage. No problem for Yaron in that situation. So it is a really big task for Chico to just make this one move done.
It will be a mistake from Yaron that will do it. Tap of the grass, a little bit of wheel spin through the final corner. You can see just how close they are, and you can see the front of the car, but looking back at Chico, just how much the cars are lifting up. And look how close he is. He's going to send it up the inside almost through the final corner, and that's a bit of a mistake because he's not going to have a good enough run down the main straight here. He is in the draft about a car like back in. Yep, got to go to the outside once again. Isn't going to get in front in the braking zone and isn't going to be able to make it ahead this time by either. They are going to have 1 lap after this one, and it's not looking good for Chico's chances here.
Looking a little bit better right now for Yari Malkov. To negotiate the back marker. We could even see 3 wide heading into turn 1 right here. Goodbye is holding on, but Malkov faster, and where is the back marker? Just about clear still, and Goodbye was able to hold on. That is a great effort there. He was 3 tenths slower on that last lap, was Goodbye. He's under big pressure, but he is holding on strong for the time being, as we will go back with our leaders, and it's attempt number 6, 7?
Might actually have a better opportunity here as they almost make contact across the start-finish line. It's not going to be for Chico, almost trying to get the switch back, but that was covered off beautifully by Yaron, giving absolutely no space on the inside. Chico all over the back of him. Definitely the last lap of the race now. It's going to take a miracle for him to get through here. He's looking left and right, trying to even put the number 22 off. A little bit of contact being made over the crest, and oh, he actually might be alongside here. Is he? No, just gets the door shut on them. They've got to watch out because Haggai Farron is going to have a look here as well. If they go side by side, Farron might be able to take both of them, but it will be Reem Gross who comes across the line and takes the win here in race number 2 at Lime Rock Park. Brilliant job by him, and Yaron's going to hold on for second place by a tenth of a second. Oh, Yossi Goodbye off the circuit.
He should be alright, should stay where he is.
Yeah. That's about 12 seconds behind, about 10 seconds behind now. The gap to Baba. Making his way across the line as well. Winner in the AM category, really, sir. Doing a great job there as well. Yehuda Ben Yosef managing to climb back up into 7th overall, 3rd in the amateur category after going off from the lead of the race as well. After only a couple of minutes in. Felt like a lot longer than that. The start of that race, the first few laps, went by not quickly. It felt like it was a lot longer. And I look at the clock and it was only 6 minutes in. There was just so much happening. It felt like it had to have been longer. But here are your feature results then. And well, I think they really showed just how chaotic this race was. Reem Gross is your winner. Nadav Yaron in 2nd position. John Chico in 3rd. And Haggai Farhan in 4th position there. Then in your AMT category, Really Sir in 5th overall, but 1st place in the AMS. Followed by Mark Zubarev, Yehuda Ben Yosef, Rancioni, Amir Hesed, Ofer Mazuz, and Bertie Galili. And then the drivers a lap down. 12th position overall, Gadi Azale, then Yari Malkov, Yossi Gabai, Sion Baba, Toma Ventura, Tal Stern, Reuven Chachashvili in 18th position, 7 laps down. And this is where we see a lot of the carnage happen. You can see it happens here. Amameshlam 10 laps down. Unfortunately, had a problem on his own a couple of laps before the end. Alon Day, Ida Isaac, Michael Simon, Dorian Tabashnik, Maddie Picard. Those two not taking to the grid, but everybody else, just so much chaos in that race now.
Yeah, it was absolutely insanity, and yeah, we should be able to get an interview with one of our drivers.
Yeah, for once the drivers actually have made their way to the interview waiting area quickly. I think because we've had a mix-up in the order, is that they've managed to come quite quickly. But John Chico joins us now, and John, you found yourself in quite a lot of battles in the 2 races that we had at Lime Rock Park. But first, I just wanted to talk about survival, because it seemed like a pretty difficult thing to do out there. Just so many incidents happening, especially in the first couple of laps of the race. How difficult was it to not make contact with the drivers around you at the beginning?
Well, good evening, wherever you are. Good day, good morning, whatever. But yeah, how you guys doing? Okay.
Yeah, we're doing great. But
Great. So battles, yeah, staying alive is number one. That's key. Although I managed to F it up really, really bad, I think on the second to last lap on the first race, when I was battling with Alon, and I was on him like white on rice. If that's still, some people could still say that, but whatever. I fucked it up real bad there, but yeah, survival was key, and it was really, really tricky. It's such a small circuit and such relatively big cars for the circuit, and I ended up touching Yaron Nadav in I think the left-hander, whatever, and I didn't really mean to do that, but kind of closed the line, I think, a little bit on me. But we'll see in the replay. But it was good racing. It was good racing for sure.
yeah, we did see a lot of good racing there in and amongst some of the chaos that we saw. Just thinking about the next rounds of the championship, rounds 7 and 8 are going to be at Road America. Obviously, a very different circuit to Lime Rock Park, much bigger, a little bit wider, longer straights, probably a little bit easier to overtake there.
That'll be a good. I'll welcome that track with open arms as far as how big it is compared to Lime Rock. Yeah, I mean Lime Rock was crazy, especially in the second race when I was battling with Yaron for I think it was second place. I did everything humanly possible not to touch him, although I was a little bit faster than him, but not enough to kind of pass him clean. So considering what happened in the first race, I didn't want to accidentally take him out in the second one as well. But much respect to him. To Alon for obviously he's a professional, not caving into pressure like I did in the first one. But yeah, really, really good racing at Road America is going to be fun. I think lots of overtaking with the long straights. I don't know. I'll consider maybe switching cars with the McLaren having that crazy top end. But I don't know. I like the Mercedes. It's been good to me for up until now. So we'll see.
Well, John, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on 2 pretty good finishes up near the front of the field. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, Talstern, Anil Mishulam, Simrace, our sponsors, Simpole, and Grip, and everybody in this league who, I mean, there was a lot of incidents in, I guess, from what you said in Lime Rock, but it's a small place, so I can't hold anybody, to such a harsh standard at Lime Rock. But yeah, thanks to everybody and thanks to you guys. Have a good night.
Well, thank you very much. That is John Chico, who finished in 4th position in race number 1 and in 3rd position in race number 2. Let's see, have we got any more drivers waiting for our chat? Yes, we do. We have got, I believe it's Rancioni here in for a chat. We're going to bring him in now. And Ran, welcome to the broadcast booth. How are you doing?
Well, confused. I don't know.
Well, it was a very chaotic couple of races, I think it's fair to say. I asked John about it as well, but how difficult was it to stay alive in these 2 races here? We saw loads of incidents, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, it was a big struggle, especially at race 2, where I started second and tried to, hold all the fast guys behind me because I figured that I had enough pace and I could maybe defend hard enough so that everybody in the back will mix up and maybe I will have a chance. But I don't know, I just ended up rear-ending Yuda and apologize, lots of apologizes to him for that. And after that, I just lost my concentration, and that's it. Everything went downhill from there.
Well, it's still a fairly decent haul of points for you after this round, and heading into the next round in a couple of weeks' time at Road America. Obviously, very different type of circuit there. Do you think I heard John say you might want to switch cars to the McLaren for that one? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Mercedes is more for the technical track because you can play a bit with the rear end, and the McLaren because of the engine is in the back, so that there's a lot more of rear traction. So for the more open and faster tracks, those cars are much better. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for having a chat with us, Ran, and congratulations on a couple of good finishes at Lime Rock, and yeah, for putting on a pretty good show with us for us as well. Loads of battles that we've seen up and down the circuit here today. Before we let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course, for everybody that's taking part and participating in this wonderful series, for Tal for organizing everything, and Amir, and for also to Hagai, helping me out a lot and teaching me and helping me to practice. So thanks everybody, and to you guys, of course.
Well, thank you very much. That is Rancioni in the number 20 Mercedes that we've just had a bit of a chat to. 8th position overall there at the end in the feature race for Ran. Well, heard from a couple of the drivers. What about you, Sam Fitzpatrick? What are your thoughts after that one?
Well, I'm just curious as to what are we going to see for the rest of the season? Are we going to see more of this type of racing tonight, where it just seems to be everything seems to be going on all at once, or are we going to return to more of the calmer races that we've had for the past few weeks? But it's certainly nice to have these entertaining races once in a while, and that race too in particular, having a few drivers who we weren't potentially expecting to be up there, but managing to really maximize their result. And we want to see this mixing up and lots of different winners as much as possible. But I imagine it will be a bit more calm next week. It'd be an easier time on us if it was.
Yeah, it's just the nature of Lime Rock is that it gives us some great racing, but also very difficult, very easy, I should say, to make those small mistakes, and they can cause a lot of carnage. Well, that is everything from us here at Apex Racing TV for this Season 8 broadcast of the iRacing Israel League, rounds 5 and 6 here at Lime Rock Park. Coming up later on this week at Apex Racing TV tomorrow, On Tuesday, we've got Rickmatech Classic Sprint Series and the ARL GT3 Trophy. On Wednesday, Ray Sports Racing League, Racing Lab Summer GT3 Cup, and the ARA Porsche Cup. And then on Friday, Radical Racing Challenge before ARA Formula 4 on Saturday alongside Formula 3.5 Championship. And then Spec Racer Forward Weekend Warriors, always a great series, that one. And IGP Fun F3 on Sunday. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. If you are enjoying the broadcast and don't want to miss any of our future broadcasts here on Apex Racing TV, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell as well. Like the video if you did enjoy this broadcast of iRacing Israel League, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time on the 8th of August for rounds 7 and 8 from Road America.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.